Hello everyone and welcome to this evening CSC Happy Hour session. I am Gauravi, a CSC chair of Reimbursement Task Force and one of the volunteer of PR committee and your host for this evening event. We are privileged to have Aaron Stiner, CCH, joining us to dwell into the topic of building a local network for the homeopathy practice. This happy hour session brought to you by Public Relation Committee of the Council for Homeopathy Certification are designed to equip homeopaths with the knowledge and skill needed to excel in their practice. As a volunteer-driven organization, the CSC rely on dedication of individual excel to their practice. The CSC rely on dedication of individual like us to support and elevate our profession, and participating in event like this one is a fantastic way to contribute while earning CUs. At the heart of CSC mission is the aim to advance the homeopathy profession by certifying practitioners who demonstrate the highest standard of professional and ethical competence in a classical homeopath. Through initiative like this happy hour session, we strive to make certified classical homeopath practitioner accessible to all, contributing to the healthcare system that embraces holistic healing. Before we dive into tonight's discussion, I would like to remind you to keep your microphone muted unless you are actively participating. Feel free to ask questions throughout the session via chat, raising your hands or unmuting yourself, or you can hold your question until the end. Now, I would like to introduce our speaker for the evening. Aaron Stiner will share us with the best practice for networking your homeopathy practice in a local community. Leaning on his pre-homeopathy career experience, first in sales and marketing, then in non-profit and volunteer management, Aaron will provide concrete tools and tips for broadening your reach and growing your client base. Please come ready to share your own idea on networking your practice as well. Now, without further ado, let's welcome our esteemed speaker, Aaron Stiner. Aaron, it's to you.
Thanks, Garvey. I appreciate the great introduction. I'm going to share my screen. I think you're all seeing the PowerPoint presentation, yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. So welcome to the CHC Happy Hour on building a local referral network. I am Aaron Stiner, a certified classical homeopath. My practice is Rising Sun Wellness. So the purpose of today's session is to help homeopaths build their local referral network in order to build their base of clients and spread homeopathy and help to heal those who are suffering. And I am myself defining a local referral network for the purposes of today's presentation as individuals, practitioners, and organizations in your local community with whom you have a referral relationship. And they refer clients to you and you refer clients to them. Now, how you define local community is completely up to you. Clearly, I'm in Alexandria, Virginia, which is a suburb of Washington, D.C. So broadly, I consider Metro Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia to be my local community with a specific particular focus on Alexandria. So that's how I'm defining my local community, and that's where I'm reaching out to is, you know, for me, because of our metro area, I really, anyone within a 30 to 45-minute drive is who I consider my local community. But you have to decide what your local community is. Um, and so we're going to talk about why. Well, first, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself and maybe some of my background and experiences that have given me some ideas about building a local referral network. We'll talk about why a local referral network, some of the building blocks that you have to have in place, some of the basics for your practice in terms of this marketing and outreach activities that you're going to participate in. I'll give you examples of potential referrers rather, who are the target groups that you might want to go out and talk to in your local community. We'll talk about then how you do it. and we'll look at some of the results that I've had based on this network effect. And then at the end, I'm hoping that we can maybe actually break out into some small groups, and you all can share your ideas and bring those ideas back to the larger group. I'll write those down as they're being shared, and then we can send them out to everybody so that you've got you've got all the ideas of everyone else. So that's what we're going to be covering today. About me, so my mission is to help people thrive and live their highest purpose with freedom, health, and joy. Um, Clearly, I'm doing that through homeopathy. That's my primary way of delivering on that mission. In the top left-hand corner, that's me and my family. My wife Beth, our oldest son Omar, who's now 20, our youngest son Benjamin, who is 12. That's a lot why I do homeopathy, is to help support my family and support our local community. I found homeopathy actually through my son Omar, who when he was 8, was really struggling with behavioral issues, anxiety, outbursts, and at that time, we turned to conventional medicine. And as I say to people, I don't, conventional medicine has its place. For him, it took the edge off, but it didn't seem to be curative. It didn't seem to be relieving that inner disturbance. And so we actually became connected to a homeopath. We were living in Arizona at the time and started treating Omar with homeopathy. For about a year, we did both homeopathy and conventional meds, and then we're able to get him off of all of his conventional medicines. um, I started seeing a homeopath for my own care, and just really fell in love with it, as a healing modality. Our whole family sees a homeopath. Um, and now 10 years later, our son is happy and healthy. He's living in Maryland, working at the state parks as part of an AmeriCorps program, which is a national service program. So homeopathy turned his life around, and it changed our lives as well. In the bottom left-hand corner, that's me in my previous life, which was in nonprofit leadership and management. I didn't always wear a cape, but apparently in that at that event, I was wearing a cape. I did a lot of volunteer outreach, a lot of community building in my nonprofit work. So I gained a lot of experience with just going and talking to people. In some ways, nonprofit's very similar. You have a mission that you're passionate about. Um, and so the going and talking to people about your mission is the same thing I'm doing with homeopathy now. I'm passionate about homeopathy, so I go talk to everyone I can about it. Um, in the bottom right hand corner, that's me and a dog, because I was reminded that my first job out of college was selling pharmaceuticals to veterinarians. I sold dog drugs for a couple of years. But again, it's sales. It's going out and talking to people, and so I do have a comfort level um, with talking to people, but you don't have to have done sales to be able to build your local referral network. The top right-hand corner, that sun is actually the logo of the School of Homeopathy, where I received my 4-year advanced practitioner degree. And, I'm a certified classical homeopath, and actually serve now on the board of the Council for Homeopathic Certification as part of the PR committee and the exam committee. And then in the bottom middle is the chiropractor's office in Old Town Alexandria, where I now see clients in person. I started my practice as an all Zoom practice. Now I see clients on Zoom and also in person 3 days a week in this chiropractor's office. On my website, I advertise myself as a generalist. I will take all disturbances, mental, emotional, and physical. When I talk to people, I often say that I specialize in anxiety, attention deficit, and autoimmune disorders. So that's about me, and so what I think I do pretty well is I think I attract clients and build my local referral network. What I'm improving is retaining those clients and keeping them in my practice. So, um, since graduating in March of 2022, I have done intakes with an average of 3 new clients a month. So, not bad, I don't think. From my understanding, it takes about 3 to 5 years for a homeopath to build a full-time client base, and I think I'm in line with those expectations. Um, so, I can't think of the math off the top of my head, but that's, close to 80 or so clients that I've been able to attract in those 2 years. And I've got about 30 clients under active care. So that's why I'm working on improving retaining those clients. I've had a fair amount of clients who have been one and done, and for whatever reason, or two and done. And it's hard necessarily in my perspective to really generate significant healing progress when you only come for a couple of times. So, but I'm attracting them, and hopefully I can help you all build your local referral networks, and attract clients, and then you'll have to do the work on healing and retaining those clients. By the way, this picture is not me or my son. It's clip art, or it's not clip art, but it's a stock photo. That's what it is. So, but why a local network? So, homeopathy and healthcare is a crowded, competitive business. I don't know if you've ever Googled natural healthcare or natural healthcare providers near me. When I started my practice, I did that because I wanted to understand what the local market looked like. And what I realized very quickly, and it was a little bit of a surprise to me, is that homeopaths are not the only healthcare providers who are offering natural holistic care, which treats the whole person and clears the root cause. So now some of these practices I look at and I'm like, that's not what you're doing. But regardless, that's what they're advertising online, that they are, clearing the root cause, that they're treating the whole person, but they're not doing homeopathy. And so in my mind, um if if I want to be noticed, especially, if I'm relying on solely online marketing, the things that I know differentiate homeopathy, which are that we are natural, we're free from side effects, that we really do address those root cause disturbances, and that we really do treat the whole person. Like, those are the things I'm hanging my hat on. Those are the things I think, oh, they differentiate me, but they don't really in the marketplace, especially if just like a cursory Google search. If someone in your local community goes to Google, oh, natural healthcare solutions, be interested to see where you show up in that Google search. So, and also, I know there are a lot of clinicians or a lot of homeopaths who are building their practice as sort of a nationwide Zoom model. I can serve anyone across the country because I have Zoom, and that's great. I think that there is a benefit from that, and it's amazing that we have that technology. But how are people finding you? And in that very crowded marketplace, how is someone who is in, Alabama gonna find me as a natural healthcare provider? Even if I can serve them because I have Zoom, how are they gonna find me? So the question in my mind is, what sets us apart from other natural health providers? And as it relates to this presentation, it's relationships. It's going out, it's meeting people in your local community and building a relationship with them, shaking their hands, sharing coffee, having a conversation, talking about what you're passionate about, learning about what they're passionate about. That is, in my mind, what is can really help you to gain referrals from your local community, is going out and meeting people or calling them or emailing them. Um, I know there's a lot of folks who there's best practices out there for, building up a Facebook group to build your practice, or using Instagram. And again, those are great strategies. That's not what this presentation's about. This presentation is sort of the individual relationships, but either way, it is an effort. Whether you're going to do social media or you're going to do building a local referral network, they both require effort. They're just a different kind of effort. Um, and for me, I actually started to lean into Instagram a little bit this year and decided that I just didn't want to be on my phone that much anymore, and I didn't want to learn all of the new technology. So I've made a choice to I'd rather talk to people than post on social media. But again, I'm not saying that doesn't work. That's just not the focus of our presentation today. The other reason about building a local network is to invest in where you live, work, and play. I really believe that I want to leave an energetic imprint in my local community. I want to borrow a term, change the field of the community in which I live and work. I have this sort of like pipe dream that if I start treating people, maybe in Congress, that maybe we'll have a bigger shift in our country and our world. But I want my family to be healthy. I want the families around me to be healthy. I want my community, and I want to build that homeopathy is an energetic medicine. I want to shift the energy of my local community, and I'm doing that by, I think, building my local referral network. The another thing that cemented it for me was that when I looked at my search terms, so I've gotten some clients just who have Googled and found me on Google. And the number one search term that folks use to find me is homeopath near me. So that tells me that when people are looking for a healthcare provider, they're looking for someone in their local community. Even if it's someone who, like, these are even people who I see over Zoom. So these aren't just people that I'm seeing in person. Even my Zoom clients, they want someone in the local community. I don't know why, I can't explain it. I'm sure there's reasons for it. But it just, for me, was kind of an aha that, like, well, then that's what I really need to lean into is building this local referral network. So there are some basic building blocks, including some related to technology that I think are important to building the local referral network. A functioning website. A functioning website is like your storefront. It's like your listing in the yellow pages. And SEO. And if you don't know what SEO means, it stands for search engine optimization. And you can try this on your own, or you can hire someone for relatively inexpensive. But what they will do is they'll make sure that when Google indexes your pages, that the information that it is pulling from your pages will be more likely to match up with people who are searching for you. And as an example, I'm working with someone who's helping me with this right now. He said, you have a footer for your website, and that footer appears on every page. And when Google indexes your page, it will pull the information from your footer. So now my footer says serving Alexandria, Arlington, Springfield, Washington, D.C., and Northern Virginia. So that from a Google perspective, if there's someone in one of those communities and they are Googling homeopath near me or natural healthcare solutions, I'm a little bit more likely to show up in their search results because I have that footer that lists the local communities that I want to serve. I suppose if you had a nationwide practice, you could do that with a nationwide practice, but I think you're more diffuse in that case. Become friends. I'm not going to go into this too deeply, but become friends with Google Analytics and Google Search Console. Those are both free services that you can sign up for that will help you understand who's visiting your website and where they're coming from and the kinds of search terms they're using to find you. Again, that's what helped me with this realization that most people are looking for a homeopath near me. Maybe you'll find that people are coming to you for some other reason, and you really want to lean into that. Google My Business, and I put question marks next to it. So if you ever are on Google Maps and you look up a restaurant and the listing for that restaurant comes up and it's got, pictures and information about the restaurant and its hours and, reviews and things like that. That's done through the service called Google My Business or Google Business Suite. I think it might be Google Business Suite. Super helpful to building a local network because a lot of times if someone's searching for someone and they do homeopath near me, they might use like the Google Maps or the Apple Maps or whatever the case may be, to locate you, and you want to be on there. Now I will say that as far as I know, you have to have an address in which you are seeing clients to have a Google My Business profile or a Google Business Suite profile. You can use your home, but Google doesn't encourage that. But you can't use like a PO box or a co-working suite or something like that. So that is a limitation, because I do think you can still build a local referral network even if you're only doing Zoom out of your home. I don't think this is exclusive. Building a local referral network is exclusive to people who are seeing clients in their office. I'm just talking about where are you getting your clients from. You need business cards and brochures, and I'm happy to, if you want to email me after the presentation, I'm happy to share my brochures. But that's, I think, a great way. What we're going to talk about is handing out business cards and brochures. It's kind of a baseline building block for building your local referral network. um, Got to have a telephone and a positive attitude. Yes, you are going to have to cold call some people. I mean, that's just the way it is. To build a local referral network, you're going to have to call some people you don't know, introduce yourself, and tell them about homeopathy. And I think you can all do that. I think all of us are equipped to do that. And you do it once or twice, and you realize that it's pretty easy. And if you're passionate about homeopathy and you want to build your business, then to me that hopefully is enough motivation to get past any hesitation that you might have. An elevator speech and speaking points. So an elevator speech, for those of you who don't know, is a term that means if you were on an elevator and you had 30 seconds to tell someone what you did, what would you say in 30 seconds? What would I say? I'd probably say, I provide natural holistic healthcare to adults, teens, and kids. I use all natural remedies, and I specialize in helping clients with anxiety, attention deficit, and autoimmune disorder. That's my elevator speech. Then you also have to have further speaking points. So if someone says, tell me more about that, then you've got to be prepared to have the next level of, whatever that thing is that's going to be. Homeopathy stimulates your inner healing response. It's regulated by the FDA. It's safe for adults, teens, kids, infant mothers. And then we're going to talk about how you even extend those speaking points further, so that when you're talking to a specific target referrer, you can talk a little bit about why they want to refer clients to you. A homeopathy presentation. I think I have like a canned presentation. I have like I do it on like a one-page sheet that if someone says, come do a presentation on homeopathy, it's ready to go. I don't have to rebuild the wheel every time. And so it's very helpful. We'll talk about some of the presentations that I've done and how you might be able to use presentations as well. You've got to have some tenacity. This is not, you won't passively build a local referral network. You've got to have active. Clearly, I think we all should be seeing a homeopath, and I think we should all have a professional mentor. Mine happens to be the same person, but I think that I always want to be evolving as a person, and as healthy as I can be to represent homeopathy. And I always want to be evolving as a professional. And so that's why I think those are that's why maybe they're at the bottom there, because they're the baseline, of what you need to do to build your local referral network. So those are the building blocks, the basics you have to have in place. Um, Target groups and WIFM. So WIFM is a sales term that means what's in it. I guess it should be two eyes. What's in it for me? In this case, we're talking about what is the WIFM, what is in it for the person that you're talking to. So these are some target groups that I've had success with, and what's in it for them. Why would they want to refer clients to me? Yoga studios. So what's in it for them? So this is where I extend my speaking points. I give those speaking points that I did earlier, the elevator speech, then the next level of speaking points. Then I say to a yoga studio, a lot of times people who practice yoga are seeking natural treatment. So if you have folks in your studio who are dealing with chronic injuries, maybe chronic sprains or back issues that yoga has helped them with, but they still need some additional support and they want a natural treatment, then send them my way. So that's how I have now connected their passion, which is yoga, to what I do, which is homeopathy. And then I say, if you'd like, I could come in and I could do a presentation on using homeopathy at home for acute care. That's great for things like sprains and strains, overheating in a yoga class, dehydration. Let me come in and I'll do, a 45-minute presentation on homeopathy for acute care. And depending on the studio, maybe that's free, maybe they charge their folks, maybe we work out a arrangement where we share the fees, whatever the case may be. But that's when I talk to yoga studios, those are the two things that and in every conversation I'm also saying, and I'm sure that I have a client, that at some point is going to be looking for a yoga studio, and I would love to send them your way, because this is not just a one-way referral street. This is a two-way referral street. Um, Therapists, counselors, and social workers have been a very helpful resource for me. For those folks, it's primarily that they have clients who are seeking natural alternatives to conventional medicines. I hear that a lot, and especially in today's climate, I think more and more people want to avoid side effects, and so I can be a resource for a therapist, a counselor, a social worker who has that client who needs a little additional support, but doesn't want to go on conventional meds. And same thing, and maybe I have a client who would benefit from your style of talk therapy or your specific therapeutic tools, and I'd be happy to send clients your way. Chiropractors, supplemental treatment for physical conditions. And oftentimes, I think chiropractors see that their clients, as their spines are aligned and they're healthier, they see mental, emotional improvements in those clients. But sometimes they have clients that are dealing with things that are outside of their scope. And so I can be a great complement to the work that they're doing. The cool thing about chiropractors is that they have also a belief that in the body's innate ability to heal itself, and we have that same understanding in homeopathy. And so that's a place you can make a connection. We're both building on the body's ability to heal itself. We're both strengthening that vital force, that life force, and would love to create a referral relationship with you. Birth doulas, midwives, birthing centers, natural treatments during pregnancy. It's a great opportunity. If you've got a client who is experiencing mental health issues during their pregnancy and they can't or don't want to use conventional medicines, homeopathy is a great alternative. If you've got clients who, are having reproductive health issues, please send them my way. I've also done a couple of trainings for birth doulas on remedies specifically for labor and delivery. And that was a fee for a presentation. I partnered with a a doula, and she had a group of doulas that worked with her. We charged them $25 a piece, and then split the proceeds. And it was a training on how they can use homeopathic remedies during labor and delivery. So that, I think, is another great connection point to build your local referral network. The Weston A. Price Foundation, local Weston A. Price chapters. If you don't know, the Weston A. Price Foundation is a foundation that promotes what they call a wise tradition diet. It's a whole foods diet that does involve eating, meat and dairy and vegetables, all in a fairly, from a fairly balanced perspective, chock full of people who have used homeopathy, who have experience with homeopathy, who are looking for natural health alternatives, and is a great way. A great way to build your local referral network is to find the local Weston Price Foundation chapter in your area and offer to do an acute care presentation for them. Now, clearly, at all of my acute care presentations, I'm talking about who I am and what my services are. But it's not overly. I'd say it's like 20% who I am and what I do, and 80% here's how to use homeopathy. But the idea is that more and more people are learning about who I am, and hopefully making referrals to me. So that's, I think, another great referral group that you can find in your local area. Moms groups, and natural health treatments for childhood issues, acute care presentations. You can just look up like natural health moms groups, holistic moms groups, moms groups near me, and find those groups. And then what do you do? So you've got your groups, you got your targets, you got birthing centers, doulas, moms groups, Weston Price Foundation. You've got chiropractors, yoga studios, therapists, counselors, and social workers. So how do you do it? Google. So we're still using technology just because we're building, relationships face to face. We're still using technology. You build a tracking sheet. Actually, this is my tracking sheet. I put a little affirmation at the top of it. How can I be a cultivator of local relationships? Nothing complicated. Organization, contact information, and then I just keep track of, the first one, I emailed them at the general email address to request time. I spoke via Zoom. She invited me to leave brochures. I dropped off business cards, a thank you, and a gift certificate. I do that sometimes. I will leave a gift certificate for a free acute care visit. Same thing, the second one, I send an email to connect. Great meeting, big proponents of natural health care. So that's what you do. You start with a letter or an email. You can do either. I've mostly done email, but recently I just sent out like 20 letters to folks who I haven't followed up with yet. And then you follow up with a phone call. You got to remember your speaking points and what's in it for them, what's in it for me, but from their perspective. And you learn about their business and background. This is not, again, I mean, typically when I'm calling someone, I'm initiating the contact. It's usually like me mostly telling them about me because that's just how the conversations work. And it is usually me talking about me first, just because I'm the one initiating the outreach. But I'm always asking about them. I'm always, understanding them. I'm trying to build a relationship. This isn't a transaction. This is a relationship. Uh, Ask to add them to your email list if you have one. Offer to trade services. Hey, I'd love some free chiropractic. Would you love some free homeopathy? That's a great way to build. I mean, getting people, especially where I'm at, homeopathy is not well known. And so if I can get someone through an acute care visit or some trade of services, to understand how homeopathy works, that's super helpful. In fact, the chiropractor whose office I work out of, she had a knee issue that she went to two or three of her, her network to treat, and they couldn't help it, and I ended up finding a remedy for her that really helped. And it really, like, then I just started getting more and more referrals from her because she could say to people, yeah, you should see Aaron, he helped me out with this knee issue that I couldn't cure. um Schedule an in-person meeting. I mean, like, go meet the people. Go take them business cards and brochures. Um, because I mean, I see these as like long-term investments. Again, I don't consider these to be transactional relationships. I consider these building my community and building relationships with people. And that may not mean a referral in the next 6 months or a year, but it may in a year or two. And I also find that a lot of these circles then intersect and connect, and people in this circle know people in this circle, and then all of a sudden they both know me. And so then it amplifies my message. And if you refer clients to them, clients mention your name, because you want it to be a both-way relationship. So the network effect. I'm hoping we've got time to do some breakouts, by the way, and have you all in your breakouts share a little bit. But the network effect. So since 2022, I've conducted outreach, meaning a letter or an email, to 50 plus potential referrers. Of those, I've talked to 12 to 15 of those I've reached out to. Of those 12 to 15, I'm getting active referrals from 2 to 3 of those. So it is a little bit of a numbers game. But I also don't think that just because that's all the active referrals I'm getting, that's how it's going to be. I think it's going to build. And again, this is, you know, it's like homeopathy. It's a progressive healing. Um, what's my best result? And I think this is where it like makes it worth it in my mind. So in 2022, I connected to a massage therapist, sent her an email. She didn't know me, but she happens to use homeopathy and happens to serve on the homeopathy action team for the Americans for Homeopathy Choice. This massage therapist introduced me to the chiropractor in whose office I now see clients. That chiropractor's referred 18 clients to me. One of the referred clients works at a PT office, and that PT office so far has referred 3 clients to me. Further, the massage therapist introduced me to the local Weston Price Foundation. I didn't know anything about Weston A. Price until I started this networking. I presented at a Weston Price Foundation event, a couple of them actually, and I've had 6 clients connected to the Weston A. Price Foundation. I met a therapist, so like a counselor, mental health therapist at one of the Weston Price Foundation. She's referred 7 clients to me. So if you add it all up, this one massage therapist that I met in 2022 has referred, in some ways, she hasn't directly, but that one connection that I made using this networking effect has resulted in 35 client referrals. So even though, I only have active referrals from 2 to 3, it's bearing pretty good results, I think. And I think it's only going to get better. Google, I've had 14 clients from Google. Not bad. I've had 11 referrals from current clients. I'm listed on a website for a local spa because I reached out and contacted them. And I've had 5 referrals from them. I've done 2 yoga studio events, 5 referrals. My mom's group presentation hasn't yielded as much, but I wouldn't use that as like discouraging information. I think, again, that's another maybe a slow burn. They know I'm here. They didn't know I was here before. They know what I do. So I think that eventually that number is going to go up. I've gotten 2 referrals from the National Center for Homeopathy website and the Council for Homeopathic Certification, and 1 from a networking event. And by the way, I guess I should define all of this. These are clients who, when I say like 2, I've gotten more than 2 referrals from, let's say, the NCH and CHC website, but only 2 of them have gone into care with me that become active clients. So I think what I would like to do, I'm sure there's questions, but before we come to questions, I think what I would like to do is to do breakout groups because I'm all about building your network. And so, how do you build your network? Is you talk to people, right? So, it looks like we have 18 participants. So, I'm gonna stop sharing, and Guarvi is going to break us into breakout groups.
Mhm.
Um, and let's see, I think like if we had like four-ish people per breakout group, what would that be? Let's see, like how many grape? I think if you wanted to do four, yeah, four breakout groups, Guarvi.
Okay,
You'll
sure.
be randomly assigned, and before you do it, Guarvi, I just want you to first off introduce yourself to each other, your name and where you're at, and then if someone can say, yeah, I'll take notes and report out, and you're gonna have about like let's say 7 to 10 minutes, um, and just what ideas can you add? How can you build on what was talked about? Are there additional groups that you think would be helpful for folks to reach out to? Are there additional building blocks that you think are important? Is there anything you would add to the how do I do it? I think those are the topics that you're going to talk about in your breakout group, and then we'll come back in about 7 or 10 minutes, and give people an opportunity to share their ideas. Um, and maybe each group can share an idea or two. And then if there's any questions after that, we can take questions. All right, Guarvi, hit it.
Okay, sure. Yeah, it was very nice and very informative presentation, Aaron. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yes. So let me create breakout room.
So hopefully there'll be about 4 people or so in each breakout room.
So Aaron, I have created 4 breakout room and participant can join any of the room.
Yeah, they should just click join.
Yes.
And I stayed out, Guarvi. I don't need to be in a breakout room. Looks like few people haven't joined. I don't know if you can force them into a breakout room or if we just want to let them be.
Okay, sure.
Like if you click on Kausar, can you assign her to a breakout room?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And so let's see, it's 6:46 now. We probably want You're fine if we go to like 7:05, right, Guarvi?
Yes, Aaron. Yeah. Just give
Um,
me 1 minute to just. There are a couple folks. They are. I'm not letting.
that's fine. Just
That's fine.
they're fine.
Okay. No worries. Yep.
It's Kausar and Rena. They're a couple of troublemakers, They
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just tease. So I've set a timer, so we'll bring them back, and they've had a minute or two already, and we'll bring them back in about 5 or 6 minutes, and then that'll give us time um,
Okay. Sure.
for folks to.
Mm-hmm.
Free services that were mentioned about where people, oh, okay, I see, yeah. Mhm.
Give us a 2 more minutes, then I will close the room and everyone will be on the screen.
Yeah,
Is that okay? Yeah.
yeah, I've got a time. How about three? I've got a timer for 3 more minutes. How's that
Okay,
sound?
sure. No worries. Just
Okay.
let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you have experience doing breakout rooms with Zoom. You learned a new skill today.
Yes, I did. I was talking on mute. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Aaron. This is my first time hosting CSC
uh,
Happy Hour.
you're doing great. It's
Thank
going
you,
well,
Aaron.
I think. Yeah.
Thank you. It was great presentation. I also learned too many things. I definitely gonna reach out to you. Yeah, I have
Oh,
some.
good. Yeah, please. Yeah,
Yes,
I'd love to be a resource for folks. And I love
Mhm.
meeting homeopaths. So, I
Absolutely.
mean, I've already met you, but we could talk about your practice and I could
Mhm.
learn more about, we could
Yep.
learn more about each other. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll give them 1 more minute, I think.
There are two questions in the chat. We will cover. Yeah, one question
Yeah,
from.
one of them, I answered it. Yeah.
Okay, you already answered that. Perfect.
Yep. Yep.
Great.
Yeah, you could click and bring them back. That's fine.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have closed the breakout room.
Yeah, and then I think it
Yep.
gives them like 60 seconds or something
Yes.
like that.
Okay, 5 more seconds, Aaron.
We're back.
Yes,
Great.
we're back.
So um we've got it's 6:53. I think if each group wants to share for like have someone from each group share for like a minute or two, that'll put us right around 7. And then if people have to go at 7, you can go, but then Garvey and I can stay on for another 5 or 10 minutes after that, so we could answer any questions that might come up after that. So who would like to share some some tips or some additional help or information that their group came up with. Who would like to go first? Rachel looks like she's raising her hand. Go for it, Rachel.
So I had the pleasure of meeting Sandra Cantrell and Pratibha Gupta, and the three of us exchanged our information, our introductions, and that was really lovely. And then in the last 50 seconds, we came up with a list of herb stores, libraries, health food stores, co-ops, and anything that you already have a connection with. Like in my case, I've taught in the school district, so I'm hoping to go to the school district and make some sort of a presentation to teachers and counselors in some way that I can hook all
Yeah.
those networks of relationships in. But
Great.
if you have something else that you do outside of it, it would be like that.
Yeah. Yeah, like I sponsored my son's baseball team a couple of years ago, and then if anybody got hit by a baseball, which happens a lot in Little League, I would ask their parents if I could give them arnica. So I think that's kind of what you're talking about, Rachel. If you've got some other life connection with some other organization or group, that's a great way to build your local referral network. Yes, thank you. Which group would like to go next? You can just unmute yourself too and start talking. I may not see your hand. No, anyone? I don't know who was in what group, so I can't pick on people and call on people, but there were a couple more groups.
Hi.
Go ahead,
I
Paige.
can
I
go.
didn't see your hand. Go for it.
So I was with Leah and Yashavi, and we didn't get too much, and I'm also a new homeopath, so I don't really have too much to contribute, but we did talk about how um, one of them was a little bit discouraged talking to like a chiropractor and a doula and how they see homeopaths as competitors. But then the other woman was like, no, 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 keep trying. Like a different practitioners or different people are going to have different perspectives. So that was really encouraging. Keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm taking notes too. That I think that's 100% right on. Like I have had that, like where I've talked to someone and they're like, and chiropractors are an interesting one. Like I'd look at their website and if they say, I treat everything from digestive disturbances to mental health issues, that may not be the one that I would call. And I have had it that I've talked to people that are basically doing the same thing that I'm doing, and that's just kind of the risk of like talking to people. Like not everyone's going to be a home run, and but in my mind the risk is low. Like maybe you get a little embarrassed or you feel like discouraged, but that'll pass and you'll have learned something, and you'll keep going. So yeah, I think that's a really truthful like thing that happens. This is not all roses, roses, roses to do this kind of outreach. It can be tough sometimes. Yeah. Thank you. Who else? Yeah, go ahead, Joyce.
So I've got a bunch of suggestions here. So one of the things is writing a blog and sending that out to your patients when you start to establish a patient base, and of course having it on your website. Local small scale trade shows and farmers markets where you can get just a little booth where it just costs you $50 or whatever, but again you're getting your face in front of the public. It's homeopaths, we tend to say to people, we can cure, we not cure, we don't use that word, but we can help you with anything. But if you find that you're starting to get a niche, that you're good with ADD, you're good with women's conditions or whatever, start to say that, start to let people know that you specialize on that. Get that onto your website, because as Aaron has already said, those search engines are going to find you if you happen to identify, with what you are having experience with. Homeschooling groups are very favorable towards homeopathy. Something that, is a newer idea that I've had, but, there's so many major corporations now that offer wellness centers. So get hold of the wellness centers and offer to go in and do a presentation, see if you can even, be available maybe to see their employees a half a day a week or something, where you can start charging for it. What Aaron said about volunteering at the kids' sports games, that's aces. Like that gets you in front of the parents. They see the good that homeopathy can do. School and church presentations, where again, they're small groups where you ask if you can come in and give a 45-minute discussion or whatever. And the topics that are great in the spring is to do like a first aid one, and then in the fall do flus, colds, and coughs. And you don't charge for that, but it's just teaching people what they can do in their home. Something that one of our grads was very successful with was she offered to volunteer at an MD's office. And so she said, just use me for whatever, I'll do your blood pressures, whatever. And then one day there was a woman who had had a bladder infection, and he had treated her like several times, with antibiotics, and she wasn't healing, of course. And so he said to her, I bet you know what to do with this. And she said, I do. And she helped the woman. And then the MD he let her work from his office and started referring patients to her.
Wow.
And the last thing is, if you can afford it, is to actually book a room at a wellness center where it's just a day a week or whatever. But again, it gets your name on a sign there, and it gets you, to know the RMTs, the PTs, the other people that are operating there, that, there's a good chance for cross referrals. So that's my scoop in a nutshell. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Joyce. Very good. Great ideas. I love it. Did we have one other group, or have all of our groups
One
shared
more
and reported?
group is remaining. Yeah. Is there anyone who want to go ahead and share their ideas?
Are there any questions that folks had, or anything else anyone wants to share for the good of the group?
Something that I have thought of in the past before I got my certification would be to see if you could help out at like at least here where I'm at, there is at the local mission, they have a medical and dental clinic that uses volunteers coming in and seeing if you could help with that, or veterans groups, or if you're close enough to like an indigenous reservation, if you can go in and help them as well.
Yeah.
We were doing that in southwestern Ontario. I'm in Toronto, so we had a clinic going for the migrant workers that would come in to pick the crops or whatever. It got closed because of COVID, but it was a successful venture. We had 5 volunteers from our school going down once a month to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's actually an organization, and I can't remember their name now. I met them at the JAHC, the conference.
Homeopaths Without Borders.
Homeopaths Without Borders. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
2 of our grads are on the board there. Yes.
Yeah, they do that kind of work, and it's a service. It's getting homeopathy to more people. It's helping and building your local community, the health of your local community, and self-serving in some ways. It's building your name and your reputation, and people see you and know you, and it's planting seeds for down the road. These are great ideas. I'll just, unless there's any more questions, let me just share one thing to close, and I mean, if there are questions, that's fine, but this was just my takeaways. So why do we do this work, right? Like, we do this work, we're passionate about it. We want to help heal people. We want to, I mean, I'm sometimes taken to hyperbole, exaggeration. I want to help heal the world, so I'm that passionate about homeopathy. I love it. I think it's an amazing healing modality. Why would I not share it with as many people as I possibly can? And even if, and you know, again, it's not always roses. It is challenging to pick up the phone and call people. I 100% know that. Even for me, who's had a lot of experience, it still can be awkward and uncomfortable, but it's worth it for me to share my passion and to build my practice. I want homeopathy to be my sole professional full-time occupation, you know, that contributes significantly to my family's finances. And I want to help heal the world doing it. And so I need to be courageous. I need to, you know, put in effort in order to build my practice, and it's that energy of wanting to help people, and make this my, you know, my job in life that gives me the courage and gives me the effort. And then rely on the network effect. Know that it's going to probably take calling 10 or 15 or 20 people before you get somebody on the phone, or and then once you get that one person on the phone, you know, maybe or maybe not they're going to refer to someone, but at a certain point you're going to begin to have a multiplier effect and really build your name in your local community. And so, you know, I just would encourage all of you to give it a try, to build your local network, and see what happens. So that's all I've got. Unless there's any other questions, just want to thank everyone for joining us tonight.
I do have a quick question.
Yeah.
You mentioned free services that gave you information about where people were coming to your website from, but I missed the name of them.
Yeah, I put it in the chat actually while you all were in the groups. It's
Oh,
Google Console and Google Analytics.
thank you so much. Thank you for all
Yeah.
of this. This has been great, very
Yeah,
encouraging.
my pleasure. Thank you.
What a wonderful takeaway. Yeah, really, very nice.
Thanks, everyone. All right. Well, everyone have a good night, and we'll
Uh-huh.
see you
Yeah,
all
once
next
again,
quarter.
yes, once again, thank you, Aaron, for generously sharing your time and expertise with us. Your contribution is instrumental in advancing the homeopathic profession, and we are really grateful for it. Thank you, all attendees. Thank you for joining us. We are excited to see you at future CSC Happy Hour event. To all attendees, in the meantime, to be sure, connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter for the latest update and news. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Night.
night.
Bye.